Hello, everyone.
Hello, Greg.
Hey.
Hello.
Welcome.
It's week 2 of 1 Corinthians.
Third King.
I really enjoyed last Sunday.
Why?
Because it wasn't Kings.
Wow, that's what I figured. The bar was low. Wow.
It was way more fun to have that conversation than it had been for a few weeks.
I know that you are. It's a
What
repetition
am I?
thing. Get ready for
I know.
1 Corinthians.
That's fine.
I in my history have been sick of Paul's writings many times, so
Yeah.
it's okay. I'm prepared.
Yeah. Paul is. He's quite a character.
Yes.
I don't know. I think Paul. I think it was maybe a struggle in his time, but I think in our time too, I think he would struggle to stand out.
To stand out?
He wasn't very polished. He wasn't.
He's kind of like annoying. Like he's
was
like the guy
loud.
that just like never stops. Just chill, Paul.
I do. He did have a moment where someone died because they fell asleep and fell out of a window while he was speaking, and so
Yeah, they came back though. It was fine.
yeah, that is what a miracle that you can raise somebody to life that you killed because you've put them to sleep.
Yeah.
No junior hires did that at camp this last
Well,
weekend.
I was gonna say.
I know. I was
gonna
looking
say,
directly at you.
Gotta keep that timing down. Don't give that 45-minute talk to a junior hire. They'll fall out a window.
Paul wasn't a 45-minute guy.
And I don't think I could.
Paul was not a
I
45-minute
could
guy.
bring them back.
No, he couldn't stop talking.
No, he could not stop. Yeah. The only thing that could stop him is somebody falling out the window and dying.
Do you think he kept going afterwards?
Yeah, he did. I'm
You
sure.
think he brought him back and brought him back up, and then was
Yeah.
like, for my 4th point.
You know what's really good is, in that moment when it's so hard to stay awake, and then I wonder if you fall, die, and then get brought back to life if you're still that tired.
Huh.
Or
Probably.
It sounds like how you've explained sitting in like Lutheran Mass.
Or a baseball game.
baseball game. That's better.
Baseball game.
I wonder if he came back from the dead and was like, he's not done yet.
Yeah,
Couldn't wait until after he was done to bring me back.
And he's still going.
It is the moment when you leave the room because whatever you're watching is not interesting. And then when you come back, you realize that it was paused
It was
so that you don't miss anything.
Leave the room, make some lunch, eat that lunch, take a shower, poop,
Wow.
come back, and they had paused it for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I love when we bring poop on the podcast. It's
I
great.
don't really
My
love
goal.
it.
It's my goal every week.
Wow. It has been a long time that you've succeeded in your goal. Let's try. Yeah. Paul, he had, so I think it's an important part of this as we continue in the repetition. Paul, we're bringing the question, or Paul brings the question repeatedly, what is at the center of your life? What is your trajectory focusing on? The church in Corinth, Paul had spent like 18 months teaching in the synagogue, being kicked out of the synagogue, teaching next door, but introducing, welcoming, connecting people to Christ. A church started. And now 3 years later, he receives word that they have lost their focus on Christ. But Paul, one of the things that Paul brings to his experience, well, he brings a lot of things, but I think a good one to bring to the surface this week is that, he was a Pharisee and a persecutor of the church, and he had a encounter with Jesus and a radical trajectory change. So all of a sudden, his focus became, instead of trying to end the church, his focus became Christ. But immediately, he's struck to the ground, has this interaction with Jesus. Why are you persecuting me? And is blind. He's brought to Damascus. Ananias, right? Isn't Ananias is afraid of him, as he should be, or because he has a vision. He's not struck to the ground and is not struck blind, but is told something worse.
Go find Saul.
Yeah.
Saul's praying, go find
Who
him.
is Paul?
This guy who's been persecuting the church.
Killed
is
it. Stephen is dead.
Yeah. Go find him.
Who would? Maybe we shouldn't name names. I was gonna say who would be the person that if Jesus said, "Hey Scott, you need to go.
Who's dead?
Who do you need to go find right now?"
Ooh.
That you're afraid of.
That you're like, I really don't. I don't want to do that.
No.
Yeah.
Two of them.
Please no.
But it was, but Saul at that time, he's in the midst of being transformed, but also I'm sure he was. We mentioned it last week that he was in a lifetime of being transformed or refined, and so he was raw, blind, praying, maybe a degree of humility in the midst of that, but
I'm sure
Ananias comes to him, and then he greets him, touches him. Something like scales falls from his eyes, and so what a cataract moment! I don't know, but he can see, and he's immediately baptized, and then he does make his way to Jerusalem, back to Jerusalem, and meets with the disciples. And the disciples say, "Nah,
I don't want that. You don't want him.
no." And it's such a, I felt even before, like digging deeper into this in this past week, is that I kind of assumed that there was more backstory to the Barnabas thing, but Barnabas, who just goes, "Nah, we should embrace this guy. He's changed." And to have somebody, it's just, there isn't like a, there isn't a stated backstory. I'm sure there was. It could have been that God spoke to him as he spoke to Ananias, as he spoke to Saul, who became Paul. But it's really impactful when somebody sticks up for you when nobody else does. And you fast forward 25 years, almost 25 years, because it was like 17 to 20 years from his conversion to going to Corinth, and then 3 years have passed since he's been in Corinth. So it's been a long time. But here, Paul, I can quickly hear his tone as being scolding of Corinth, but I think that, part of a formative thing to him and what we see in his ultimate outcome is that Paul is trying to have the people of Corinth succeed in their relationship with Christ. He's trying to stick up for them. He's not just trying to shame them. You're bad people, and leave it at that. He's calling them out. Change your trajectory and change what's at the center.
Yeah, it's like he approaches them saying, "Hey, here's my take. Here's what I'm reading on what's," and there's no social media and stuff.
Yeah.
So, it's really interesting to try to think of like, what are the signs that Paul? Because we do know that somebody came to him and said stuff, but he addresses a lot of things, and so I'm almost like, it's a lot of it is like. Sometimes I'm like, is this exactly what was happening in Corinth? Or is this just Paul going, this is just what happens in a church? This is just what complications with people sometimes.
Yeah,
I think there's a mixture of it.
I'm sure Paul knew that culture well. I'm sure his being informed must have been pretty extensive. But he does address a lot of things. And I think it's good to bring up over and over again that he wasn't, he named symptoms, but it wasn't just about removing symptom. It was about addressing what was the core issue. And so, last week, this idea of some say that you follow, he would say me, Paul, Apollos, Peter, or Jesus only, don't listen to anybody else. And Paul would say, so you can address who you're following, sure, but the real issue is Christ at the center. And this week, I think as Greg, you put that, like the whole point of this culture, be impressive was the cultural point. Be impressive, and if
achieve something, be known.
Be known.
Yeah.
I think so sarcastically.
Ancient influencers.
I just think that if there's, I would love people at church on Sunday to try to imagine to be part of a culture that being impressive is important. And then you just go, wait, that is everything about our culture is to be impressive.
It matches pretty well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Fortunately.
It's not my favorite.
And so with it, the answer is not to, all right, be unimpressive. The answer is put Christ at the center.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm reflecting on trying to remember a scripture that I can't remember right off the top of my head. So don't look at me.
Well, in being impressive, follow the right leader. If you're part of the moving group, that's impressive. Listen to the impressive things. Be impressive in what you say and how you look. Be impressive in the practices that you have, your social status. So much pressure to be impressive to everyone and everything, even inside of the Christian or church culture there. And being impressive was way more important than being impressed with the cross.
Yeah, I was thinking 1 Thessalonians 4:11, Paul writes, "Stay calm, mind your own business, do your own job. You've heard all this from us before, but a reminder never hurts. We want you living in a way that will command the respect of outsiders, not lying around or smudging off your friends." It's this like learn to be calm and focus on what you can actually focus on, take care of the things that you have action on. It's not about being impressive. It's about doing what you have the ability to do. A lot of the versions say aspire to live quietly, which is, I think modern church is pretty bad at that. Maybe
it's the Jesus redefining greatness. Let Jesus be impressive, and you following that quietly. It's important in the same way that Jesus was like, "What is great? Great is service. Great is all these things."
Well, there is like this perceived to be righteous equation in this is that if I'm impressive, if what I say and what I do, my power, my words, if they're all impressive, it will make Jesus impressive. And Paul in this, he goes, wow.
Yeah.
You know what?
You're making Jesus impressive.
Yeah, he says, summary of his words. He says, you know what? God he has more power in his frosted tips of his hair. No, okay.
No, I mean I'm just picturing God with frosted tips. I don't know.
He does.
What it looks like.
He has more wisdom and just a fraction of who he is, and to you in the church, he says, to you Jews, you are demanding to see power in order to embrace God, and to you Greeks, you're demanding to see wisdom in order to embrace God, and you're trying to embody those things, power and wisdom, and you're making yourself the point, and you should not be so impressed by or focusing on being who is impressive or being impressive. You should be impressed with the cross. And Paul says message of the cross, which I think did a fair amount of reading on. That's a loaded, gigantic declaration. What is the message of the cross? And it's like you could spend an entire service, but a long time talking about just the what is the message of the cross, and the honest reflection is it impressive to you? And my perspective in thinking about is it impressive to me is like if I see something over and over again, I bet if I lived close to the Grand Canyon, I would walk by the rim and I wouldn't look in, or I definitely wouldn't go, whoa. the first time I went to the Grand Canyon, I went, this looks like a picture. It's not
Can't
actually
stop
real.
looking.
It's not actually real. And so I think some of the familiarity sometimes can numb you to the scale or the impressiveness of what the message of the cross is.
How does that? I always find it hard to like think of how you move beyond that, because faith is just tends to be more abstract. Like, unfortunately, but like, how do you, like, in your marriage, or like, how do you? Because it's a similar thing of like,
Yep.
you can be infatuated with somebody, and then over time things change, and it doesn't mean it's better or worse. It's just change. I think faith is similar. Like, and it's interesting because God is not the one doing the changing; it's we are.
Yeah.
But there is that familiarity. I mean, maybe it's even easier to think of like starting a new job. You like, you're so excited and nervous, and you have all these feelings, and then 5-6 years in, you're like, I do the same thing. I know how to do it all. How does how do you stay? How do you still see value in your job after 5 or 6 years? What's different?
Yeah. Well, I think the simple words are to keep the core reality central. And so when like in contemporary church metrics, like I feel like there was a lot of work being done to keep the church interesting to the people of Corinth. How can we show power and wisdom in order to wow and woo, to pull people in? And and I like that becomes quite clear because in chapter 2, the first words of chapter 2 is Paul says, I came to you with simple word and not much shiny. And so like, it's funny how he just like, listen, I didn't come to wow or woo you, or not, you weren't impressed by me. You were impressed by the cross. And so I think that, so bringing that together is to say that go back to internally and externally, go back to those things that first were impressive, and like internally meditate on that. What did draw me initially, and meditate on that. I think that's true in relationship or in vocation or whatever as well. Go back to the root of what you fell in love with or had passion about. But then two is to Paul was repeatedly in this text. He's diverting attention from himself and giving attention to Christ. And so I think that part of regaining that is to just, again, to like wake up and go, oh, look, I see it. And sometimes the familiarity causes you just not to look at all. And that's I can see that being my issue.
And I think that I mean, Shakespeare said some are born great, some achieve greatness, some have greatness thrust upon them. And I guess with Paul, he says, yeah, I did it all. I achieved everything, and I'm basically nothing. And he's and he's saying, you can try everything you want, and some that greatness is not pursuing greatness for the sake of greatness. It kind of just makes you a sweaty tryhard, there's and people don't like sweaty tryhards.
Yeah,
you're like, what are you trying to do? But the idea is that
through it.
Yeah, see through it.
Yeah.
And he was saying, I've been there, I've done that, and when I get into this new culture, I am nothing. So even talk about influencers and stuff. There's plenty of places in the world where they're like, Kardashian who?
Yeah.
it's just so. But if you latch on to something, like Paul latched on to the gospel, he was like, that's what his, at that point in his life, he was just like, okay, I need to put my head down and get to work.
Mm.
And that's what made him great, because he wasn't, constantly checking the horizon and going, okay, where do I rate? How many followers do I have? He was just like, no, I'm just kidding. Get here, do the work. And, and what he did was impressive because he wasn't pursuing that impressiveness.
Yeah. The weight of having all that cultural weight of I have to be impressive is the foundation. That's where value is found. That's where purpose is found. That's where being able to be sustainable is found. It comes with a lot of, that played out to extreme doesn't work well for people. That's been proven over and over in human history. And on the flip side of it, Paul is going, all that energy to be impressive, put that in just realizing the power and the wisdom, the impressiveness of Jesus, and it's going to change things for you. It's going to change things for you. And I feel like that's like the Barnabas moment. Paul, Barnabas stuck up for Paul, and now Paul is going, man, I'm trying to jump in here and stick up for you, and going, this is going to hurt you. Just like it would have hurt Paul if the disciples would have never embraced him. That would have had impact and consequences, and the impact and consequences of them going, if only I was a little bit smarter and a little bit more powerful, a little bit more impressive, then I will make it. Then it'll be, and even with like good, like the external words of it can be like, I'm trying to do this for you, God. What a great prayer. I'm pretty sure I prayed that one. I'm doing this for you.
Well, I think like in the modern context, it's complicated because modern church strategy has used impressiveness to build crowds. Then they always try to use some good that's done as an excuse for why it's okay.
Mm.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure if they read First Corinthians. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, the consequence of it, again, Paul isn't necessarily like, he's not saying, he doesn't have great tact always, but I don't
That's
think
a universal in Paul.
Yeah. But I don't think, to the core of who he was, I don't think he was going, I'm trying to call you out so that you feel bad. He goes, I'm saying this because this is going to help.
Yeah.
And the pattern in scripture, David is a good picture of it, but like you can grab 50 or more characters in scripture really quickly of people that were unlikely, pretty simple, unimpressive people that God used and empowered and trusted. Like if we can build understanding of who God is through repeated narrative, the repeated narrative is the unimpressive did really impressive things because of God. And so Paul is going, okay, you're really trying to be really impressive and have totally forgotten about Christ. And that trajectory is going to leave you to nothing.
It's the don't lose the Torah moment.
Yeah, so true.
Why are you doing this? Well, we just did this and built this. And, okay, we're gonna strip this down a little bit. We're gonna go back. Like, don't try to be impressive without Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
But with like church things behind it, like when you say, boy, it's so helpful to what God wants to do if people like me. If I prove myself, if I am successful, if people notice me, if I protect my reputation, and if I'm not ever seen as being weak, these are all things that help the message of Christ. And Paul is going, Oh, don't you realize that your most impressive is like a drop of water in the ocean compared to God's impressiveness? And so don't lose sight of God's scale.
Yeah. The all are equal before the cross. Like the best person and the worst person.
Yeah.
Neither of them are good enough, and both are valuable.
Yeah. And to carry that weight of being impressive, like when people, and I've had people in my life who've come to a point in just their honesty have just said, I can't carry this anymore. It's way too much pressure, and it feels way too hypocritical to do this Christianity thing. And the message of the cross is you don't have to carry anything. Just marvel at the cross, and it'll transform you. That's where the power is at. It's actually not in you. You can't carry it. You did it. You found the voice.
You don't turn the faucet on because it's impressive. You turn the faucet on because you want the water.
Yeah, it's good. Rich?
I think Gorman got it.
Wow.
We did, was it last week you were gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did Gorman's wrap-up last week.
Nice.
So now he's stealing it, so you've been replaced.
Love it. Hey, if I can get the background.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.